Hello everybody, this is Evan with Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today I'm bringing you a review of Last Will. Last Will is a game by CGE Games. I'm going to take you down to the table and give you my rundown of the rules, how to play, and then bring you back up for my final thoughts. Alright, so I have Last Will set up here. I have it set up as a two-player game right now. There are some variations between 2 and 5 player depending on how you want to set it up, whether it be the alternate side of the boards or a couple slightly different rules. So with this one, we're going to go through the different steps into the game. So the idea of the game is to lose the money that you have. Your rich uncle has died, and you want to spend as much money as you can from the money that he left you to prove that you are not going to be like him and are able to spend and enjoy the money. The person that can spend all their money will inherit the larger amount of money. So much like an older movie called Brewster's Millions, that's the name of the game. So I have it set up here for £75 is what you need to lose through the game. There are cards in there that you can alternate the starting amount of money, just for a little variation to the game. So the game is set up with the player boards down here at the bottom, and then you've got the main boards up there at the top in those two sections. So the game overall goes through a couple steps in each round. And the first step you're going to do is you're going to do planning. So what the planning step is in this upper section here, in turn order, and turn order is determined by this. This is the first player marker. So we'll say that green has this. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose which one of these you're going to take. So what this means is if you take this square, for instance, say I'm going to place up here, this means I'm going to draw 5 cards. 5 cards is out of these decks of cards. One key thing with this is when you draw, you have to determine how many of each that you're drawing out of the stacks before you look at any of them. So if I wanted 3 and 2, I would have to do that. I couldn't do 3, look at them, and change what I want from that. You have to determine everything up front. So that's the drawing cards. This would be the errands. So the errands means going out into these squares out here to get additional cards or doing various things. Then lastly, it's going to be the action phase, which is involving cards in your hand or these lower sections here on your player boards. So with the variation here into the two-player, the first person actually is going to actually get an additional other color. You pick a square that's basically going to be blocked. Second player will do the same thing. Then they will take the one that they want, and then this person will take the one that they want. Now, for the rest of this round, now it'll go off of left to right on this track. So green would go. Purple was just an additional, that was just blocking, then red, and then blue was a blocking also. So in this situation, green would draw 2 cards, which I'll go over the cards here a little bit. I'm actually going to go over this next section here first, which is going to be the errands, and then green will also get 2 actions. Likewise, red would get to draw 7 cards, get 1 errand, and 2 actions. So errands, you get 1 or 2 of your little top hats here. And then how it works, as I said, it goes from left to right based off of this. And you get to place 1, and it goes all the way there, and then comes back. If you have a second one, then you get to place it and it goes all the way down. So what you do is you can place it on any of these little areas that are marked. So going over what these are, so we'll start with this one here. So if you go here, this allows you to get an extra action square here, which once I talk about actions, I'll explain that a little bit more. And notice how there's only one square there. If it's taken, you can't use that one. Okay, and this one, there's one for each color here. If you decide to take that, allows you to draw a card from any of these 4. This one right here allows you to go to the opera and spend £2. This one allows you to manipulate housing prices, which once I start talking about cards, the last ones I'll talk about is the housing, and that's when I'll explain this section a little bit more in detail. Over in this area is straight up, if you go there, you're going to get that card. So you have these 2 here. Means you can pick any one of these 3 in the upper section. Like that. And notice that there are 2 there, so 2 people can take from those. And then the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to do actions. So you have actions. You have a little action marker here on your thing. So like say for green has 2 actions. So you want to move this down to 2 here. And that's going to tell you how many actions you can do. So before I really get into actions, I should probably talk about the different cards here. So the cards are really what drives the different things that you can do during your turn. Pause there for a second, because I want to make sure I have the names of the cards correctly. There we go. Okay. So going from here this way, so these are the companion cards. And there you're going to see dogs and horses, lady friends, chefs. And that's what's going to be into that deck. Those are used, I'm going to leave them like this. Those are going to be used mostly with the properties and with the events. And you'll see how they're used here in a second. Going along those, there's only 2 of them are the wild cards. They can be used as any one of the companions. So the next card we're going to talk about here is going to be this one. This is the helpers and expenses. So in there you're going to get stuff like reservations you're never going to use, or a school chum, a steward, more reservations, waiter, tailor, and so many different things. So as you get these cards, they're going to let you do different things. So let's go and look at this reservation here. Okay. So whenever you get these cards, they get played down into this section. If you get it into your hand, it takes an action to lay it down here. Now during your turn, when you're in the action phase, it doesn't take an action to do this, but I can slide this down, and whatever the cost is right here, that's how much I lose. So in the straight up, £2 for this one. Now we have different types of things, and they're not all the same. So this reservation costs 1. So I can slide it down for 1. Now you notice the symbol right here. If I play an action, or if I use an action, I should say, and I discard one of the companions, which happens to be a chef, I'll mark it with one of these. And forever now, instead of 1, it will cost me 3 to use this. And there are very other ones like this carriage, which is 1, but you discard a lady for it. It will cost 3 from now on. And there are other things too, like this waiter, that if you ever use a card that has that, which would be like the reservation, makes it cost a little bit more. But there are also other ones in here, like the school chum, that when you activate it, allows you to draw extra cards, which is very, very handy. What's nice too is there's a lot of iconography into this game, but on the back page of the rule book, it's all laid out, which makes it really, really nice to try and figure out exactly if you're not sure what something means. So the next set of cards I'm going to talk about are going to be these ones. These are the events. So these don't get played down here. They play out of your hand and are discarded after use. But they're just straight up, I'm going to take a carriage ride for an action, and it's 2 pounds. You can have a ball, and the more that you spend, action-wise, the more it costs. But then you also have a dinner that if you bring lady guests, which discarding out of this here from your hand, can cost more. And so on and so forth with all these. Then you're going to have certain ones like this with the boat trip. Cost 2 actions to use. Cost 2 to do it. And you can discard a lady friend, a dog, or a chef. In any combination, you don't have to do it in that order. So you could do a chef and a lady companion and skip the dog, that's fine. Now you can't double up on something. I can't go on this and take 3 dogs with me. So it's only 1 per. But that's the entire thing of this deck. So these are going to be right there for you to use and spend lots of your money. And as I said, the last thing in here is going to be the property. So property is very key. Even if you spend all your money, if you have any of the property left, you cannot go bankrupt. You have to sell all your property. So with property, there are 4 different types here, which you can see with the different colors here. And they also correspond to the different sections right over here. But let's pull one out here. So this mansion. So when you buy a property, you just look at the top price here. That's how much you pay to buy it. So this one is 15, and you also look up here to see if the price of the housing market is manipulated at all. So this is a yellow mansion. So 15 plus 3. So for me to buy this, it would cost me 18 pounds. And then once I get it, it would go into this section here. 2 things with the properties. As you have them, you'll mark a little house right here. And if you try to sell it, wherever the house is, that's how much you were going to sell it for, plus or minus, depending on this. That's why it is important to manipulate that as time goes on. That way you can buy high and sell low, which is opposite of what you want to do in real life. But so it starts off at 15. This in the upper right is if you spend an action to maintain the house, it'll cost you whatever this costs here. So in this event, 3. If you do not activate this, what happens is at the end of the round when there's cleanup, this slides down to the next area. So the house will slowly depreciate. So you have 2 ways to do the house. You can maintain it, and it'll slowly cost you money this way. Or you can let it depreciate over time, and then you can try and sell it for as little as possible. And then there are all sorts. Now, there are other types of houses in here, like this farm, that will never depreciate. But if you put a horse into it, it'll cost you a lot. As you can see, you can put people into the houses, and it'll help drive the cost really, really high. The downside is for those ones, they never lose their value. So that's something to keep in mind. And the last cards here are going to be these ones here, which are called just the special cards. They're rated on 1, 2, and 3 crowns. So as they go on, they get more and more powerful. But they are just a mix of the different cards here. Old Friend's always a good one because whenever you put it down here and you activate it, it doesn't cost an action to activate him. He just gives you a straight up action. Real good, nice one here. But yeah, so once that's all set here, you would draw your cards. You'd place your errand boys out, and then you'd do your actions. Once everyone's done with their actions, everyone's all set, you would refresh any cards that you would have down here. Any cards that were up here get cleared out and get replenished. Turn marker goes down, and then you would just repeat. And then you'd go until turn 7, and once turn 7 is done, if nobody has declared bankruptcy, Like I said before, you just check to see who has the lowest amount of money, and that's the person that wins. Property does count into that. And as I said, there's a couple of variations with it. There's alternate sides to the game boards. This is 2 and 3, 4 and 5 on the opposite side. There are additional rules there for higher player counts. I'm going to bring you back from the table, since I gave you the rundown of how to play, to give you my thoughts on this. So final thoughts here on Last Will. So it is very reminiscent to me of a movie that I watched before a long time ago, Brewster's Millions. Spending the money to get a larger amount of money to show that you are able to spend and enjoy the money. The game actually plays, it's really simple. The rulebook is a little convoluted, unfortunately, which from my understanding, this company has a problem with it. The rulebooks are a little bit more rougher to read. But if you go out there, if you watch this video or if you watch any of the other videos of how to play, you'll get a better understanding how to do this. Overall, it's a fairly solid game. Like, it's very straightforward. One of the best things, as I said into the video here, let me grab it, is if you need any of the iconography, is all right here onto the back, which makes it real nice. I really enjoyed playing the game. It plays really well, like I said. About an hour and a half to get the game done. I like that there's some variations with that between the different player counts. But overall, like I said, if you're looking for something that you can play 2, 3, 4 players pretty easily, and you don't want something too heavy, this would actually be a nice, easy game for you. Until later, this is Evan with Tabletop Gaming Guild. Have a good day.